What up, YouTube? T-Moose here with the new Amazon series Utopia premiering this week. Since it does star John Cusack, making a bit of an interesting comeback here, I decided to go ahead and do my top 10 favorite John Cusack movies. Because John Cusack has, of course, been around since like the 80s. He's always been top-notch. Sadly, he has not really had that much of a hit in recent years, but Cusack is always the man. So with that being said, here's my 10 favorite John Cusack films. Number 10, I'm going to add this Rob Reiner classic film, The Sure Thing. Now, it stars Cusack, who portrays this character named Gib, who's this college freshman who keeps striking out with with other females and all. And so he ends up learning that this beautiful Californian played by Nicholas Sheridan, whose of course name is The Sure Thing here, wants to have fun time with him and all that. So he ends up deciding to carpool all the way to coast to Amir. Unfortunately, one of the other passengers on the trip is this girl named Allison, played by Daphne Zuniga, who's this attractive but domineering girl who has ended up rejecting Gib once before, and the journey ends up becoming like a nightmare until something ends up happening. And so like Gib and Allison starts to pretty much fall for each other and all. Anyway, you have a few other folks in this, like you had Anthony Edwards was in this film, Tim Robbins, The Sure Thing is a pretty classic 1980s rom-com. The 80s had some pretty solid romantic comedies, like teen romantic comedies in the 80s and all. And yeah, if you guys have not really seen The Sure Thing, I'll say give it a shot. It's a pretty decent film. I mean, Cusack and Zuniga both have really good chemistry with one another. She doesn't really do a whole lot anymore. I'll let's see Daphne make a bit of a comeback. Alright. Coming in at number 9, I'm going to go with Hot Tub Time Machine. Now, this is about 4 best friends played by Cusack, as well as Craig Robinson, Adam Scott, and Clark Duke, who ends up discovering a hot tub, and they end up going back to time when they get into the hot tub, and they end up going travel back to time to 1986. And it's a pretty good one. Like, you had a couple of 80s icons in this. Like, you had the likes of who was in this? Oh yeah, you had Chevy Chase and Crispin Glover appeared in this. Of course, Crispin Glover is no stranger for the time travel genre, because remember, Back to the Future people. Anyway, yeah. Hot Tub Time Machine is a really fun film. It's entertaining. It's hilarious. The 4 leads all had great chemistry with one another. Like, if you guys never really seen Hot Tub Time Machine yet, I'll say give it a shot. It's a really fun one. Alright. Number 8, I'm going to go with Grosse Point Blank. Now, this, of course, is a film that stars the likes of Minnie Driver. John Cusack, of course, portrays a hitman in this, which John Cusack as a hitman is something you probably would never really expect out of someone like him. But this movie actually got released in 1997, and it stars Cusack, who plays this assassin who has trouble on his work, and is of course resulting in a failed assassination attempt. So he ends up returning to his hometown, and so like Grosse Point, which is of course Grosse Point Midge, and so like for his 10-year high school reunion, he ends up meeting Minnie Driver's character, who's Debbie Newberry, who's a old girlfriend of him that stood him up during prom. And so like Mars, a secretary played by his real life sister Joan Cusack, ends up setting up a hit for him while he's also in town. And so you got Dan Aykroyd, who portrays his rival hitman here too. So it's a bit of a dark comedy here. John Cusack was terrific. Grosse Point Blank is a 1990s classic right there. It's really fun. It's hilarious. Has lots of dark themes in it. If you guys haven't really seen Grosse Point Blank yet, definitely give that one a shot. All right, number 7, I'm gonna go with the Woody Allen film Bullets Over Broadway. Now, this stars Cusack, who portrays this idealistic, struggling playwright who is forced to cast a mobster's extremely untalented and shrill mole named Olive, played by Jennifer Tilly. And of course, you got this hood named Cheech, played by Chaz Palminteri, who is supposed to keep him to keep an eye on the Olive character. And you also have a few other folks in this too. Like you had it's a bit like a Broadway-based film. Of course, it got turned into a Broadway show as well. You also have a few other folks in this. Like you had the likes of Mary Louise Parker, Diane Weiss. Of course, this actually scored lots of Oscar nominations. It scored a Best Original. I think it actually won Best Original Screenplay. Diane Weiss, I believe she won Best Supporting Actress for this. I gotta double check that. I don't think John Cusack got nominated for this one, but it had some really good cast members. Chaz Palminteri was terrific in this. Loads of the other cast was good. It's really funny. It's pure Woody Allen, so yeah. But it's a really good one. If you guys have not really seen Bozo Broadway, it's part, of course, it's part gangster at times. It's pretty hilarious once in a while. I mean, and Cusack's David, of course, is a sellout here, but he plays the role really well. So definitely go check out Bozo Broadway if you guys never seen that. All right, number 6, I'm going to go with the Grifters. Now here you got this actually scored a couple of Oscar nominations. It is directed by Stephen Frears, who did a pretty good job with this. And here you got Angelica Houston, who portrays this hard-as-nail woman named Lily Dillon, who works as a swindler for dangerous bookie, Bobo, played by Pat Hingo, who is also probably the only man that she fears arriving in LA on business. And so you've got John Cusack, who portrays her son Roy, who's a small-time con artist, content with paltry slate of hand cheats. And so Roy's girlfriend Mara, portrayed by Annette Bening, looks like the all-American type, but is also a grifter. And so the three hustlers evidently means trouble for all of them and all. This actually scored a couple of Oscar nominations. I believe Angelica Houston won hers for this. I gotta double check if she won it or not. But that aside, The Grifters is pretty decent. It is a nice con artist based film. Great, cast. Yeah, if you guys have not really seen The Grifters, I mean, Stephen Frears I know he did a pretty good job at directors. But yeah, if you guys never really seen The Grifters, give it a shot. I mean, John Cusack, Angelica Houston, and Annette Bening, all three of them really shine in this film. All right, number 5, I'm going to add Love and Mercy. Now, this is actually probably the last great John Cusack performance, in my opinion. This is actually a film about Brian Wilson, who's, of course, the lead singer of the Beach Boys. You had, of course, John Cusack portrays the older version of Brian Wilson, while Paul Dana portrays the younger version. This really shows of who Brian Wilson was and all that. You had Paul Giamatti, who portrayed his pretty much dick of a manager. Elizabeth Banks portrays his wife here. I mean, Cusack, I know he was really believable at playing the older version of Brian Wilson. I'm not even kidding. I even think he should have easily got an Oscar nomination for this, because he was actually that good as Brian Wilson. I mean, even the actual Brian Wilson, John Cusack's performance as him was, top notch. Even if you're not a fan of the Beach Boys, I think you'll still enjoy this, because the Beach Boys they're one iconic group right there. And I thought, of course, the music by the Beach Boys in this is always top notch. Who does not love music by the Beach Boys? Come on. But anyway, if you guys have not really seen Love and Mercy yet, definitely give that one a shot. All right, number 4, I'm going to add Pushing 10. Now, this is, this is also a bit of a dark comedy that stars the likes of Angelina Jolie. You had, Cate Blanchett was in this. You had Billy Bob Thornton. And it's a pretty decent one. It's about where a new recruit ends up unselling the close-knit team of a traffic controller who looks after flights in and out of New York City. And so, like, his serious and competitive approach, coupled with a wild side to his character, and and of course, him and Billy Bob Thornton's character both had pretty solid relationships here. I mean, John Cusack, of course, portrays the character of Nick, who does a really fine job by being driven by Thornton's laid-back motorcyclist character, Russell, and Jolie, as a tattooed woman who I thought was pretty terrific. Kate Blanchett was great. I mean, this is a pretty decent dark comedy. All four leads were pretty solid here. If you guys have not really seen Pushing 10, I'll say give it a shot. It's a pretty decent one. All right, number 3, I'm going to add Being John Malkovich. Now, this is a fantasy about being John Malkovich and here John Cusack does a really solid job. You also had the likes of Cameron Diaz was in this. It was directed by who directed this one again? I think was it Charlie Kaufman? Boy, no. It was Spike Jonze who directed this film. Why did I freeze up on Spike Jonze's name? Anyway, I think because of Charlie Kaufman, I still have had that Netflix film that I'm thinking of endings in my head. I think that's probably why I had Charlie Kaufman in my head. Anyway, it's about this unemployed New York puppeteer named Craig Swartz, portrayed by Cusack, who's reluctantly who ends up taking a job as a filing clerk for his eccentric Dr. Lester, played by Austin Bain. And so, while at work, Craig ends up discovering a portal that leads into a mind of actor John Malkovich. And when he ends up letting his attractive co-worker, Maxine, played by Kat Keener, in on the secret, they begin both on an unusual business scheme. And a relationship that also involves Craig's restless wife, Lilette, portrayed by Cameron Diaz, who was pretty terrific in this. You also had Mary Kay Place was in this film. John Malkovich obviously played himself here. It's a very quirky, dark comedy, but it's actually pretty solid. John Malkovich was pretty good at playing well himself. Whoever thought that a movie about going inside the mind of an actor like Malkovich would work out perfectly, it worked out really great here. John Cusack, Cameron Diaz were all solid. If you have not really seen Being John Malkovich yet, give that one a shot. Alright, number 2, I'm going to add High Fidelity. Now, of course, this is based on a novel by Nick Hornsby. High Fidelity, of course, also directed by Stephen Frears, who gave us The Grifters, which also had Cusack in it. Here you got John Cusack, who portrays Rob Gordon, who's the owner of a failing record store in Chicago, where he ends up selling music the old-fashioned way on vinyl. Who the heck listens to vinyl anymore nowadays? But anyway, although they of course have a encyclopedia knowledge of pop music, here he also ends up pretty much smitten with this. Of course, he does spit with his girlfriend named Laura, portrayed by Ben Ajayi, who ends up walking out on him, and he ends up examining his failed attempts at romance and happiness, and he ends up his best friends here is portrayed by the likes of Jack Black in his breakout role. You also had Lisa Bonet, Catherine Zeta-Jones was in this, Sarah Gilbert. You had Joan Cusack was in this film. Robert Wagner's daughter, Natasha Wagner, was in this. This, of course, is a love letter to classic music of the 80s and 70s and all. Now, of course, they did do a TV show of High Fidelity, which premiered on Hulu early this year, which got great reviews, and it also had Zoe Kravitz, who's of course the daughter of Lisa Bonet, who's actually in the film, so that's pretty cool right there. Sad to say, the High Fidelity show on Hulu did not last so long. It only lasted for one season, which I'm still disappointed about. But yeah, John Cusack I thought was really terrific here. He played this lovable guy very well. Of course, this movie actually was Jack Black's breakout role. He's done stuff beforehand, but this was like one of the movies that really put Jack Black on the map for most critics and people. And it's a pretty good one. If you have not really seen High Fidelity yet, definitely give it a shot. Alright, coming in at number 1, I'm going to go with Say Anything. Now, this is definitely one of the best teen rom-coms of the 80s, directed by Cameron Crowe, who did a pretty good job directing this film. You got John Cusack, who portrays this teenager named Lloyd, who ends up seeking to capture the heart of Diane, who's this high school, who's of course this high school girl and a straight A student, and she is played by Yoyon Sky. You also have a few other good cast members like Joan Cusack was also in this one, Phil Baker Hall, Lily Taylor, and of course one of the most iconic movie moments is of course the boombox thing when you're gonna have Peter Gabriel's in your eyes stuck in your head if you watch this movie, so try and warn you right there. But anyway, Say Anything is one of the most iconic romantic comedies of the 80s. It's really heartfelt, it's really cute, charming. You know, if you guys haven't really seen Say Anything yet, I'll say give it a shot. It's a really good one. And definitely, I would say that The Sure Thing was like was the film that, like, I believe that was like John Cusack's first feature film, but it was really Say Anything that really put John Cusack on the map for most people, and well deserved right there. He was terrific in this one. Anyway, that's pretty much it. Let me do the quick rundown. 10, The Sure Thing. 9, Hot Tub Time Machine. 8, Grosse Point Blank. 7, Bullets Over Broadway. 6, The Grifters. 5, Love and Mercy. 4, Pushing 10. 3, Being John Malkovich. 2, High Fidelity. And number 1, Say Anything. Now, there's also other John Cusack movies I probably could have added. Let me pull up the credit list. John Cusack movies. Alright. He was in that not so good movie Igor. Let's see. He was in Con Air with Nicolas Cage. I probably should have had that one on this list. Con Air is iconic. He was in 16 Candles, another romantic comedy from the 80s. He was in Better Off Dead, Identity, The Frozen Ground, which also had Nicolas Cage in it. He played Edgar Allan Poe in The Raven. Runaway Jury, Must Love Dogs with Diane Lane, that was okay. War Inc., America's Sweetheart with Catherine Zeta-Jones and Billy Crystal, as well as Julia Roberts. He was in The Paperboy. He portrayed Richard Nixon in The Butler. 8 Man Out he was good in. That movie, The Cell, with, not The Cell, but it's just titled Cell with Sam Jackson, that wasn't so good. One Crazy Summer. Midnight's in The Guardian. He was in that movie Dragon Blade with Jackie Chan. That wasn't so good. The Thin Red Line, Martian Child, Grace is Gone, The Ice Harvest, which also had Billy Bob Thornton in it. Never Grow Old, The Number Station, The Factory. He was in that not so good movie 2012, The Prince, City Horror, Adult World. I mean, he's been in loads of good stuff. He's also been in some not so good stuff. So, sad to say, John Cusack's recent career, his recent career has been a little questionable, you know. But John Cusack has always been great. I mean, he is Hollywood royalty. I mean, of course, his sister is the aforementioned Joan Cusack, so there's that. I mean, talent runs in the Cusack household, I'm guessing. Anywho, let me leave it with you guys. What are some of your favorite John Cusack movies? Drop comments below. Don't forget to like, subscribe, hit that bell for more notifications. This here is Simu signing out.